2017 wrap-up video. And I want to give a huge shout out to my sponsors, because without you guys, none of this would be possible. Bird at Bird Surf Shed, Gordon & Smith Surfboards, and Xterra Wetsuits. Thank you guys tons.
In January, Xterra and I did a project together where we were able to kind of dive into my life here in San Diego. We did a little edit here up at Cardiff, where Inertia then shared it on the web, and it got a bunch of hits, and it was just a really cool thing to do with them. In February, I got into the shaping room. I shaped myself a pintail single fin nose rider, something a little more performance oriented. Here's a little edit of me surfing it.
Threw some belly in it, into some V. Then pretty flat coming in off the tail. The concave isn't really that deep. About a ½ inch, and then it goes to flat to a roll.
Another cool thing that happened in February is we got a Mavic Pro. We got some cool drone shots that I thought just added a little cinematic touch to our videos, and I was really stoked to wake up a few mornings and get some shots of San Diego.
The kill's not the thrill, it's the hunt. I got the thing that you need, baby. You got the thing that I want. Let's take our time, we don't need to rush. The kill's not the thrill, it's the hunt. Yeah. La da da da, ba di 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 di. La da da da, yeah.
In March, I was invited to Australia to take part in the Switch event that was being held at the Noosa Festival. Here's my first edit of me surfing First Point. While I was there, I got to meet with my good friends Fraser Biden, Johnny Pitzer, Harrison Roach, Josh Hall, Thomas Bexon, and my good friend Jared Mell. It was epic. The Switch event was held by Gordon & Smith Surfboards Australia. It was a pretty unique event where we had to ride a longboard and a shortboard and get 2 waves on each board that were scored together. Here's a shot of the announcement party the night before the event.
Austin, Kane, Holly Ingleby, Isaac Woods, Jack Knowlton, Jared Moe, Kira.
Died in Paradise was an edit we put together of the times that I spent here in Australia.
I would shine just like a million suns if you just love me, baby. I'll be in your life again, so baby, baby, just say maybe. here I come to dance around the sun. I've been oh so blue, stuck behind the moon. Now let me in, back where we began, and let me hold you like the way I used to do.
When I got home, I was super inspired by the lower hips and the faster boards of Australia. So I got in the shaping room and shaped myself a new board. This is something after Skip Fry's 66 model, and I was kind of calling it my 67. I added a little more tail rocker and a little bit more modern lines. It was super rad to get back on the bike. This is my local spot. It has since been mowed by the city, but it was super rad to get a cool little clip in before the place was mowed. In April, I got to go to a Doheny contest where the surf was pretty fun, chest high, glassy, and I was stoked to come out with a second place overall. The very next weekend, I headed up to Santa Cruz for the log jam, and I hit Sheep Hills on the way up. Sheep Hills is a dirt jump spot just a little past Newport Beach. Every year I go to Pleasure Point to do the log jam. It's an old board contest where I got to meet up with my good friend Joel Tudor, where we got to do the Aloha Heat. It's a shared wave event with 10 to 12 other teams, and we ended up coming back with a win. At the end of April, we ended up opening up the Shed OB. It's a shop in OB that shares the same ideas that we have at the Marina shop. In May, we had the boardroom, formerly known as Sacred Craft. There we meet all kinds of legends. Here's Bert and I standing with Gregory Harrison, Steve Walden, and Reno Avalera. In June, Snow Summit opened up their pro line. It's also the slopestyle course. I was super stoked to get it on my first try. Here's Aaron and I on the lift. July was a pretty flat month. I was super stoked to get one good day out at the point. Nobody out, super low tide, and it was pretty epic. Here's a little drone footage Aaron took.
Chrissy had a secret, she couldn't let it go. I'm sorry lady, I should have let you know that I don't want up the mud. Then a physical touch, if it's too much, maybe I can move along. I said I'm sorry, but girl, you are blessed with your naked little body on my VHS. But you were not shy. Girl, I know why. You got it all figured out tonight.
Also in July, we ended up going to Mammoth Mountain. It was my friend Jericho's birthday, and we got to ride the mountain. It was covered in snow, but we were able to get the second half of the mountain pretty much all to ourselves. In August, Kevin Conley and I got together and started shaping my pintail. We worked on a few different versions. Here's one with the edge in the tail and a more blended concave. It works pretty epic. I was stoked on how it turned out. Here's a little edit of me riding it.
Stick with me, my little baby, I won't let you down. My doors are always open for you to come in. Hurry up, my little buttercup, let the games begin. I'm so tired of waiting around. Gotta get this thing off the ground. I'm on top of the Greyhound station. Won't you please come home? I'm on top.
In September, I got invited to go to the Surf Aid Cup. I was pretty honored to be a part of such a prestigious event. It's held every year with the MSA. I was stoked. Our team ended up getting 3rd overall. Here's one of the waves I got during it. When I got home, I decided to shape something a little funky. Here's a finless board that I did. No fins, just a bunch of grooves. I had Justin Tournaise wrap the whole thing in carbon fiber and vacuum bag it. It came out unreal. In October, we had the Cardiff Reef Tourmaline contest. The surf was really good, and I was stoked to end up in 3rd place. Closing weekend at Snow Summit. Aaron and I went up for one last hurrah. I was pretty stoked to be able to get through the line, not fall, and be able to trick just about every jump. Until next year, Snow Summit. On my way home from Snow Summit, I was able to stop by and get a couple waves before dark.
Life's a gamble when you're rolling them dice, sir, 'cause you know you can't rely on them bones. You'll be drinking and staying all night, sir. You'll be safer and better at home, 'cause
The next weekend, my wife surprised me with a dirt bike. I was pretty impressed. I've never had one before. So we have a group that we ride with all the time. It's pretty rad because we all surf and we all ride dirt bikes. Here's my wife. And Brandon Garski. And the infamous animal, Mike Myers. Hank Warner finished me a summer swallow. It's one of the best summer swallows I've ever had. It's 7 foot and so much fun. GNS also published an ad showing my models off in the new Ocean magazine. In November, we finally got some swell. Track out in Hamul, and it is so much fun. Barely anybody rides it. It's kind of a beginner track, but it's teaching us to become better riders. All of us have gotten a lot better since we've been there in the last month or so. Mark and John, the caregivers there, have been super helpful. In December, I got my all-carbon 9.4 Isaac Wood model, shaped by Kevin Conley and carbon wrapped by Justin Tiernez. Also late December, we decided to head up north and try checking out a few tracks. One of the places we found was called Elsinore MX. It was a blast. Just before the new year, I got to check out some trails that were once mowed that some of the local kids have kind of rebirthed, and it was pretty sick. The jumps were flowing pretty well. Just before the new year, we had another run of swell. The point was firing and no one else was out. Remember to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to me on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
Show me something special, you. Let me